that you do.
Fantastic.
But mostly residential interior designers. They often don't get this information.
I think we just went live. Ara?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we're live.
Okay,
Hello, Ara.
so here is a new participant, Linda. Linda, do you want to introduce yourself for the audience, please?
Hello, thank you for inviting me to this wonderful session today. My name is Linda Kafka. I'm based in Canada. However, I am on the board of the Happy, and I support the research that the Happy does. And my area of expertise originated from marketing and neuroscience and understanding that, using that in marketing. But in 2009, I was hired to create Canada's only design center. And so I was there until 2017, and then I decided to move on and be an educator in this category that we're speaking about today. So neurodesign, neuroaesthetics, and really helping interior designers understand how they can improve the built environment by understanding human biology better.
And guess what, Nikos and Ara? She came from Canada to the United States. So people are saying, oh, you're here from Canada? They're all so surprised a Canadian came in because there's a little bit of an issue now.
Nothing wrong with that. So Linda mentioned the Happy. This is Anne's nonprofit. Anne, you want to say a word or two?
Yeah, the Happy is the Human Architecture and Planning Institute. It was founded in 2020. We're entering our 6th year now. And we are about understanding the non-conscious experience to build better design inside and out.
Okay, and is the Happy intimately related to the Build Beautiful movement in the UK or Thomas Heatherwick's?
We have some overlap. We have a neuroscientist on our board, Nikos.
Yeah, but you went to meet Thomas Heatherwick,
right? And
what
we've noticed is in Europe they're very, very open to looking at neuroscience and understanding the human experience. Which I have a master's in architecture from UCLA, and the human experience was never talked about.
Okay, but Mike, to clarify to the audience, is the Happy officially related in any way with the human eyes of Thomas Heatherwick? But you and Alexandros, who are members of the Happy, were in London and gave talks.
Yeah, we have reached out to Human Eyes and Heatherwick, and we hope to be collaborating with them. Okay. They're preparing a conference in Seoul, Korea, and we hope to be talking with them more after they get done with that.
Has Thomas invited you to go to Seoul?
No, they did not. But I have met him in London, and Alexandros did speak there.
Yeah, but look, why don't you ask him? If you pay your way, I'm sure he would welcome you to Seoul. It's a bit far. I was in Seoul many years ago.
Right. It would be worth a trip. Well, it's something we could talk about later, Ara, is how we really want to work with Heatherwick and with you about our courses. We have 7 courses online. 2 of them are free about understanding the non-conscious directing you. They're also on the AIA website. It's the Happy certification course. We'd love to talk to you about it. Just understanding basic aspects of human perception, like how we're thigmatactic without conscious awareness. We're a wall-hugging species. How we're hardwired to respond to specific shapes, how more of our brain is devoted to facial expression and facial analysis than anything else. So houses that look like faces always do well. So yeah, we could talk more about that some other time, not necessarily on this session.
The director of this video series, Ara, you wanted an agenda for today's meeting. Please let us know.
No, I was just curious. What was Thomas Heatherwick's? He has an organization for...
Heatherwick's very, very powerful. He runs one of the most successful architecture offices in London.
Yeah.
And it's very...
He has an organization.
And then, like, I think about a year ago, they started the Human Eyes campaign. It's a movement. And it's a 10-year campaign to make, to humanize architecture, basically.
Ara, humanize with an S, because in Britain, they spell it with an S.
And in America, we spell it with a Z. So you see it spelled both ways.
Yeah. But, Ara, I think, is looking up on Google.
Human Eyes. You'll see it. It's huge. They've got huge amounts of money. They have a special director just to promote this, about making places less boring and more for people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I should mention that our mutual friend, Cleo Valentine, received some funding. And her latest paper, was funded by Thomas Heatherwick. It's a fantastic paper about the anxiety of parallel lines and things that I have been working on.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm sorry,
that's
Linda.
been researched before by psychologists in England and the UK about how repetitive parallel lines stress the brain, because we didn't evolve with the repetitive parallel lines, so our visual system isn't designed to perceive them. And when you do an eye tracking study, you see the brain is hardwired to make you look away from the building with repetitive parallel lines.
And I participated in a Heatherwick study in Toronto, Canada,
Oh.
a boring building study where he, under the direction of Colin Ellard,
Yes,
where we had an opportunity to go out and view buildings in Toronto. And sadly, Toronto has, it's my home city. I love it. We have some beautiful architectural buildings, but what's happening is right now we had more, I think probably since 2010, we've had more cranes in the sky building high-rise, whether they are multi-units for people to live in or whether they're work complexes, multi-unit work complexes. And what's happening is a lot of the facades are very plain, a lot of glass facades, and it's becoming a very modern-looking city, but a very boring city in terms of the architecture that we see.
Yeah.
And I have a great respect for our architect community in the Canadian market, so they probably wouldn't like to hear it, but it's important to know that we are, really being swayed, I think, by budget, by the developers, and we could do better. We really could do better in creating environments that are more engaging and connected and more human. And so,
yes, well, the happy organization and humanize can help. I found the paper. I had it within reach. So here is Cleo's paper, just published, and the title is, listen to this, Visual Discomfort in the Built Environment. So, and when you read the paper, you see that award-winning buildings cause visual discomfort.
yes, we'll have to get a copy of that. That sounds like a really good read.
There was that Thomas Heatherwick project with all those stairs that I think they shut it down because people were like,
well, look, let me defend Thomas Heatherwick. He became a well-funded architect by building horrible things, and then he had a revelation that these are really horrible, and he turned to trying to produce humane architecture. And he's actually taking part of the money he's making in the company and funding these research projects. So I take off my hat and I forgive him his past sins.
Well, I think we all have to learn along the way. We're all learning along the way. And to Anne's point and to many others, it's not taught in architectural school. It's not taught in the interior design school. So, so we only know what we know and what we then choose to learn afterwards. And he's recognizing that he can do better. And as human beings, we all strive to do better, whether it's in our personal lives or in our work environments. And so, you applaud people like that and you want to see them as they are thought leaders. They are natural thought leaders, recognizing, and they're not ashamed to stand up and say, I wasn't doing it right, but I'm moving towards changing that. And I think that's really important and you want to follow people that are genuine and honest. And that's what I find with Thomas Heatherwick. There's it's genuine there. There's an authenticity there. And we all have in our lives have done things in our work environment that haven't always been perfect, but he's moving forward towards that. And I think it's really important recognizing, the human element that's missing, the connection, and, supporting our human. Think about this. We put in the built environment, a lot goes into ensuring, a lot of physics and goes into ensuring that the building doesn't fall down, right? Building code, everything. But very little goes into understanding human biology and how the occupants, whether they're approaching or on the street or in the built environment, how they respond. And so I think the time of really understanding human biology is an important time right now, and looking at that.
Well said, Linda. And in fact, our circle of friends has presented very useful tools, practical tools for judging the health effects of the built environment to use for pre-occupancy evaluation of a building. Mm-hmm. If those were applied, most of today's fancy buildings would not be approved because they cause harm to human health.
Mhm.
But we face tremendous resistance from the establishment. It's not so much. It's not the developers and the construction companies. They want to build something. They
Yep.
can change. They can change it. They don't care. It is
Yep.
from the embedded ideology coming from the architecture critics, the architecture schools, and certain people whose projects are threatened. The star architects who get all the choice projects, become multi-millionaires. They don't want to ruin the game by
And
letting other
also,
people in.
absolutely. And also it's a statement of their design and so on. I happen to be a fan of Ty Farrow. Are you familiar with Ty Farrow?
I've heard the name. I cannot bring image in mind.
If you look him up, Ty Farrow and Partners, he's really looking at, not what causes disease, but he's looking at, how can we create environments that actually cause health, good health, positive health. He looks at he uses salutogenic principles in his design, and he builds predominantly commercial, hospitality, educational, institutional. I'm sure he does some residential. But he's looking at it through a different lens, and he recently had a book published called Constructing Health. And so we're having a lot of conversations. Now, I do tend to spend my time in the interior design sector, but it's conversations that we're all starting to have around the table on how do we improve the environment.
Ty, Tighe, Farrow, Farrow.
Tye.
Oh, Tye.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
You didn't look up Thomas Heatherwick. I thought you were looking at Thomas.
Oh yeah, I was
Heatherwick.
looking him up too.
Well, look up Ty Farrell now.
Yeah. It's Ty right there. So he's been on so it's a lot. What's interesting is his approach with salutogenic design and looking at what causes good health and what can we learn from that and how can we design better to create environments. He's got several projects, as you can see out there, and an interesting approach that seems to be gaining a lot of traction and a lot of interest, not just from media, not just from other architects, but also from potential clients and existing clients and the public.
Right.
Yeah, but it's basically bad modernism.
Yeah, I was about to say.
What's so incredible is how divorced it's still amazing to me, the divorce between the built environment world, the hospitals, and then the car companies and the tech companies and advertisers. Look at the new hospital proposed for just down the street from me. This is the new hospital.
We cannot see it because we have the webpage.
Yeah, look at the new hospital design proposed.
That's a meat packing plant.
Yeah, that is the new hospital design for people to walk in a mile from my house. Can you imagine? I mean, it feels like it's horrible. Like the people designing it don't know I'm going to even be more stressful than I would have to be.
At least the entry is clear, though. Or at least you know where to enter.
Well, okay, you're learning, Ara. Yeah.
And all this work about repetitive parallel lines, all they're showing is repetitive parallel lines.
Yeah.
Hello?
Somebody needs to approach them.
They don't even know. It's like they're clueless.
Oh, I like this Heatherwick project.
That's great.
Project.
That's great. That's Heatherwick. Yeah. But that's confusing. It looks good from a drone view, but not from up close.
Yeah, look. I want to help Thomas Heatherwick, so I'm not going to criticize. I know some of this stuff is not very good, but I'm not going to criticize Thomas. And he has developed his own nice fashion style. I mean, he has a style. The guy, he dresses in casual shirts with vests and baggy pants. I appreciate somebody who has style.
Yeah.
It is elegant, though, right? I mean, it's not traditional per se, but it has the elements.
Let's not try to take it apart. It has interesting stuff,
Well, it's introducing new forms that aren't common. The form, the kind of, the curving form isn't common in modern architecture to see that. So that's kind of cool.
A nice lot of curves and shapes. And
I'm not sure I'd want to live next to that.
Well, it looks like it's almost like a floating park.
Yeah.
We could probably use some influence in Toronto on our new developments on our waterfront because they're very parallel lined buildings. And I don't want to knock the architects in Canada or in Toronto because we do, I have respect for them, but we can always do better. Those are some interesting images that you're showing there, Ara.
Yeah, it's more of Heatherwick's work.
Yeah. It's interesting how you see the style or the elements that are very signature for Thomas Heatherwick. And then if you look at Ty Farrow, he tends to do a lot with we're doing a lot more in Toronto now or in Canada with the
scroll up, Ara, scroll up. Oh,
no.
Yeah, down. The Kaplan Medical Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, one row down. Scroll. Yeah, that one. Yeah, number 2. That's a dud.
Terminal?
That's a dud.
That's a medical terminal. I thought it was an airport.
That's a dud. Okay, so
I don't know that one.
Let's not knock somebody who is trying to do something good, but this thing is
change.
Yeah, this thing is the dud. So,
yeah, I don't like that one. That's not reminiscent of his current work. I don't know when that came out.
So let's go somewhere else, Ara.
Yeah,
but it's interesting because this is the type of project, and Heatherwick's are the types of projects that would get an A in architecture school.
It's
Because,
really
like,
bad.
Precisely. And this is the worst kind of architecture.
It would collapse in even a vast study. The visual attention software
I don't like this
study
building.
you can do it's a plugin for Photoshop. It'll predict how.
Does it have a date on that building, or is it just concept, or is it an actual building that was built? Does it say? That's a Kaplan. When was that built? Because often these centers, these buildings take such a long time before they are finalized, and so maybe that was long before he started talking about salutogenic design.
I don't see the, and they look like renderings. It doesn't look like.
Yeah, they don't look like it. They might not be. They might have just been concept. But the other images with the fins, and I think he just did one in Israel. Not sure where that one is, but he's doing a lot with the mass timber.
Yeah. Okay. Look. Let's cut in some slack because he has good intentions, and keep an eye on him.
You know what?
And he has money to really. What's really powerful about him is he's really looking at human experience.
That's what he's doing.
And that was never even talked about. It's not mentioned on the licensing exam. It's not mentioned for a master's or a bachelor's in architecture in the United States. That's crazy. So you need,
Okay, what are you showing now? Ara, this is garbage. This is garbage.
I've seen that before. Yep.
This is garbage. And this was hailed in the architectural press as a work of genius. It's garbage.
What is it, when you say that, help me understand from your perspective, what is it that you are not liking with that?
It's the repetitive parallel lines. You don't want to look at it. You can tell.
No. I will not.
I know, but I just want to hear it from Nikos.
I will not get into a mathematical. I can talk half an hour on the mathematical structure, but I will talk on the emotional connection. The user who approaches, comes closer and closer, enters the building, does not connect to it because the geometry is jarring. It is disturbing.
It's very
Look at
jarring.
the parallel lines here, and horizontal lines.
Mm-hmm. Geometry is jarring. I can't believe you said this. So we hope to be working with the business school with a full eye tracking lab this fall, doing exactly what you just said, measuring the experience of someone approaching different buildings.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 different levels: distant, mid, directly up close.
No.
And show how it's very, very different when it's all glass.
Yeah, no. It's like a film. At each distance, you get a different experience,
and that's huge.
A good building, you will get a pleasant, positive experience at each distance, and you go closer, and the experience changes, the visual experience changes, and you still have a positive emotional experience.
So I'm showing you this building, right? Place de Vosges, right?
Yeah.
In Paris. And what's so amazing about this is how I showed you this, right? The sandbox they have for adults. It's so beautiful, and people are so happy playing it. They put a sandbox in the middle. And then for the first time in about 40 years or 50, I went and played in the sandbox.
Fantastic.
Because you felt so
At
so
ease.
happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
You felt so happy. And the building, and this is amazing. When they renovate the building, they can put a big ad on it because they know so many people will be there chilling out.
Yeah.
So the renovation can be paid for by the ad.
Fantastic.
It's just we
But
don't
I
have.
like-
I know no space in the United States that feels like this.
No.
I like your idea of a research study on the approaching a building at different stages and how we feel, because to your point, yes, and as you get closer, you're going to have a different experience. As you know, I come from a family of, my father was a stonemason, the traditional stonemason, chiseling, and and I always admired the work that he did, and I've always had an affinity to buildings that have detail and stones, and just it was a personal thing. Perhaps maybe initiated through my dad, but I've often noticed that when you're starting to approach a building at certain distances from the building, it starts to change. You start to see, in my case, I'd start to see things that I wouldn't be able to see at a distance, that would even bring a greater sense of joy or pleasure for me. I think that is a really important perspective, Nikos, that hasn't been thought about. It's not just how we view a building.
But Linda, we have been thinking about it and publishing this stuff for decades.
So when is it changing? What is it going to take to change this? And
it has to enter the mainstream. The mainstream so far throws this off like the water off a duck's back.
Well, they're not used
just
to.
not interested.
But in a way, I think Heatherwick is starting to change the idea of even discussing.
Well, Heatherwick is now connected with us. He's one of us.
The idea of even discussing human experience, that was taboo. What? You don't mention that.
Exactly.
You talk about intellectual ideas.
I have a story for Linda about Christopher Alexander and Frank Lloyd Wright.
yes.
The two did not meet, but Christopher Alexander went to Japan and was able to visit Frank Lloyd Wright's Imperial Hotel, which was torn down deliberately in the 1960s. But Christopher Alexander was there in the 50s.
Yeah.
So he visited the hotel. It was a fantastic building. And he said it was a gorgeous building from approaching it through intricate streets of Tokyo, and going up to the entrance, inside. But once you got inside, it was terrible, because Frank Lloyd Wright did not use nice materials or nice composition inside. So here you have the discontinuity of all the approaches being positive, and then you get to inside, and it's a failure.
It's building up the excitement of, what am I going to discover when I go inside? Because the building is so exceptional.
Yes.
I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. I'm feeling those happy hormones, all these emotions taking place. And then you go inside and you have a complete, change of how you feel, because the interior didn't match the experience you had on the outside.
So,
and isn't that true? We find that so often in many buildings. I experience that often.
So Christopher told me the story. Now Frank Lloyd Wright, he has some of the most wonderful interiors in other buildings. It's just at the Imperial Hotel, somehow he missed it.
He missed it. He missed it on that. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm going to be in Japan next year with Moving Boundaries. I don't know if you're familiar with Tatiana Berger at Moving Boundaries. And so she's an architect educator, I guess from California or Berkeley area or somewhere out there. But what she's done is she's created Programming International that brings architects and designers together. And so I am more of an educator, and I'm more in the residential sector. But the knowledge, so last year I was in Sweden and Finland, and we were studying the effects of light and darkness. And so we had the opportunity to look at, Alvar Aalto's work and Appsland. And, we were in Sweden, we were into the Woodland Cemetery and understanding the designs of those spaces from Lawrence and other architects that were creating, spiritual spaces for people, chapels on the cemetery for spiritual, and the use of light, the use of design to, really honor the individual that had passed. So, and respect the people that were there too, that were emotionally, going through emotional challenges with the loss of a loved one. But it's really interesting to look at the architecture through that lens and see, how others have been doing it. And you're right, though, it has not come to mainstream, and I think we still have a lot of work ahead of us. But we need every sector in the built environment to get behind this and push this. So although mine is at the lower level, not the architectural level, it's all of us collaboratively getting together and spreading this message, and showing through research and other things that this is a necessity that we have.
Yes, well, that's what we do.
Yeah,
That's
what you're doing.
Ara is brilliant.
Yeah, Ara, you're supposed to be leading this video. You're not saying anything.
Okay, well, Linda mentioned Alvar Aalto, and I was actually wanting to ask Nikos and Anne what they think about art. But I mean, I'm sure they're not fans because I mean, he is celebrated as a great architect, and he does have the brick and the material. But I mean,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm not a fan for
Different
the following reasons.
Time.
Look, he has elements of humane design, but he also has elements that are modernist, and the two
It's too blank.
jarring. Yeah, they're jarring.
It's too blank. It's avoidant.
But let's.
And when you approach it, it gets blanker.
It's easy for us to criticize today, but back in the day when he was building, did he learn any of what we talk about what we're talking about today in school?
No, they were trained as modernists.
No, he wasn't trained in any of that. It wasn't.
Linda, here I will have a big fight with you.
Okay, go ahead.
Because architects need to just look around and learn from existing buildings. They don't need to learn what is taught in school.
Yes.
They have wonderful
We're not
examples.
taught evidence-based design. Evidence-based design isn't even a concept in planning or architecture.
But at the time of well, you know what? There was a lot of architecture that he could have looked at and been inspired from.
Yeah, he chose that. Now, what's it? Among the modernists contemporary with Aalto, he's probably the most humane. You know, the others did horrible things. You know, gray concrete walls and curtain walls, glass curtain walls. You know, those are horrible. So Aalto, you know, it has something nice there.
But you know, as everything kind of builds upon it, every generation builds upon the hopefully upon the last. And we are in the age of biology now. We're really looking at the human, and architecture has a responsibility. Architects have a responsibility to at least think of me as, I'm not an architect. I am your client. I'm the end user. I'm the people that are using your building. What do I know about architecture? Or I say that in general terms, right? We rely on you to create these environments that are going to make us feel more human or make us feel connected to other people as a social being. You know, we want to walk into a space and feel excited about it. And honestly, the architecture that surrounds me today does not make me feel excited.
Yes, okay, stop, please.
Other countries find it.
Linda, please stop right there. What you just said, you want an architecture that makes you feel connected, that gives you a good feeling in the body, a visceral feeling.
Yes.
Which contemporary architects are looking for that? The famous ones totally ignore that. It doesn't matter to them. It's something outside their vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. But as the consumer, as the end user, as the mainstream, we don't know any different. We expect that architecture is going to do that for us, but we're waiting for it to happen. Where is it? Why is it not happening? And we don't know.
Wait. Again, I disagree with you. The client does not demand it. If the client demands it, it would happen. Okay, because the client writes the check. Here it is.
You're right. I don't disagree with you at all. You're absolutely right, and that's with anything, any industry. You know that you introduce. If the end user is funding, then you know at some point. I work in the area of aging in place design. And it's taken me since 2010 till today to just start to get even industry professionals to understand the benefits, the economic value of designing for aging in place or for people with disabilities. And don't design it that I want it to be seamless. I want it to be integrated into the space that you don't even notice it, that you can walk into that space or come in if you have a disability in a wheelchair or so on, and not feel segregated, not feel different, not feel like I have to use the back door because I'm in a wheelchair. I have two family members in a wheelchair, and you know, and as a caregiver, it's extremely difficult for me. And architecture fails on a lot of. They build strictly to the basics of the building code, and then that's it. They don't go beyond. And so, you know, it becomes challenging. And I, you know, you hope and you think. I live in a retirement home 3 days a week for 4 years as a focus group project. This is my focus group as I watch and learn how people age in the environments that they live in. And sadly, you wouldn't want to see how sadly their lives, the quality of life, and how it deteriorates so quickly because of the built environment. And it was, you know, sure, we can talk. It was restricted maybe by budget, maybe by ideas, maybe by design, maybe by ego.
Excuse me a second. What are you doing, Ara? These thumbnails, persons cannot see the thumbnails. So please, if you have a picture, show it full size on the screen while Linda is talking. I'm sorry, Linda.
I'm looking for a particular detail.
That's okay. The building itself, nothing special, but when you walk into it, it happens to be a faith-based retirement home, and it has no elements in there, no detail. The walls are what I call builder beige. There's no details in it. The chapel in there is, very plain, floor to ceiling windows, very elevated high ceilings. Acoustics are difficult. And what I've noticed over the last couple of years is the seniors are starting to wear sunglasses inside the building because of the amount of light and glare off of the surfaces. So there's much to be done in many categories to look at the quality of life. Schools, how do we create better schools for the young?
Schools are a disaster. I've been talking about this with Anne for years. Schools are a disaster. Mm-hmm. It is we are sadistic to our children, this generation. We want to crush the soul of our children by putting them into schools that are designed to be soul crushing.
And when I was with Moving Boundaries in Sweden and Finland last year, we were going into the libraries and looking at these different spaces. But I was really surprised to the amount of, or how important children are in the Nordic countries. In Sweden, I'm sure Denmark has something similar. I'm sure Norway. I'm sure Finland. The library in Finland was really quite fun for me because it was very child-centric, young child-centric. And it was even the height of the sloping. There were so many elements in there that I liked. Is it perfect? No. I don't know, where we find perfection in this category, but there seems to be at least people attempting and moving forward and trying to create things that are better for humans. And I think we need to start at the children. And the reason I chose to focus my energy on residential is because I believe that everything begins at home, when our lives are, and all these wonderful buildings or these places that are like, I'm well AP accredited, and I'm seeing a lot of, the wellness movement happening in these different environments, and they're making improvements in the workplace, in different categories. And then you come home and your place is not well. And so it's like a vicious circle.
So why are you showing us USC, Ara?
Oh, yeah. What are you doing with these pictures?
I think that their campus is decent. They have some nice buildings, and
I studied gerontology, aging in place at the University of Southern California. Virtually, didn't have a chance to see those buildings, but
I see.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Well, I was curious about.
Again, Ara.
Yeah.
The thumbnails are too small for the computer screen. Pick on something, make it big so that the viewers can see what, we can discuss it.
I've been curious about there was we were looking at the Giralda Tower last time. This is a different building, but they have these it's like the columns and then the arches are like doubled up, and then there's an open space above it. Well, it was more clear in the Giralda, like this.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very interesting moment.
It is.
This is not for support. This is not tectonic.
It's decorative.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. And then the opening up there brings in extra light. It's a nice detail that I hadn't really looked at.
So I want to do a research study on how that kind of detail in buildings is not arbitrary. The motifs suggest eyes, and your brain is hardwired to look for eyes continually. And our ancestors that didn't continually seek out eyes, they all died. So we have in our the nervous system designed for survival on the savannah, hasn't changed for 40,000 years. And perceptually, we're hardwired to look for eyes everywhere, in a snake, with pareidolia, whatever, with a lion. So we always look for eyes. So I think a lot of these buildings, your brain is actually seeing them as a consecutive series of faces looking at you.
Yes. And speaking of eyes, we don't see Anne Sussman's eyes. Please.
There I am. I'm right here. I'm right here. But the eye bias,
humor.
But the eye bias is fascinating to me. And what's fascinating too is how the car companies study that.
Well, they
study the expression on the cars. There was a
Wall Street. Because they want to sell. They have competition. They want to sell.
They completely know. And so there was a Wall Street Journal article back in 2006. Why cars got angry. It was 20 years ago. Why cars got angry, Wall Street Journal. Pull it up. But
why cars got angry?
Is the science that architects don't know. But the car companies, are playing with that. I mean, it's like it's two different. It's amazing. Go look at it.
And
Verify.
Yeah.
Get it. Oh, this
Yeah.
is great. My car's got angry.
Again, I want to correct your sentence. That research has been out for a decade. Okay, the architects just don't care about it.
No,
It's not that they don't know; they don't
they're
care.
taught. No, but we're taught like it's not even there. It's like they don't know the planet is there. You know. Why cars
Well, you know,
got
and
angry?
I find it
Okay,
interesting.
well, okay.
My original path, my original interest as a young girl, a young teenage girl, in high school was architecture. I was the only girl in building construction, architectural design, architectural drafting in the 70s. And I ended up in marketing, another story, but marketing. Right from my very first course in marketing, we were talking about the non-conscious and understanding, what triggers
that's beautiful.
consumers and swaying consumers.
Mansions. Let's
go. Look at that.
Let's go.
This has been very much part of my lexicon and part of my work when I did packaging, when I did design, I did marketing. And when I found myself in the interior design industry, I was really an architect. I was really surprised that this information hadn't come to your industry. It's only now, and I'm talking from the 70s. When I first was learning this to now, it still hasn't really come into the industry.
That looks cozy. Where's that?
Yeah, look at that. That's nice. All that wood.
I think so. Yeah, Newport. I think Newport, Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Yeah,
that's like an hour from me.
Oh.
That's just gorgeous.
Yes. Again, as an academic who teaches, information is pulled from the inside because there is interest.
Yes.
If information exists on the outside and there is an insulation to keep it out, it will never enter.
Never.
That's what's happening in architectural academia. It's kept out. So the students remain ignorant, completely ignorant.
No, totally. And the licensing, the fact they license without exams, without even mentioning it is insane to me. Or the fact that you can cut a master's or bachelor's degree in architecture and not take one biology course.
Is it an elective? Isn't it?
No,
would it be an elective?
No mandatory biology or psychology.
No.
Never mentioned on the licensing exam. It's insane.
Because the young girl that was with us today, she's studying. One of her electives is psychology.
But she's not in architecture school.
Oh, she's
in psychology.
She's in psychology. Yeah. See, we're learning.
I want to tell a story about a new colleague I have who is a faculty in architecture. And this colleague, is very nice. We started to collaborate. We had a workshop together, very successful, very nice. And so after that, said, well, the workshop is finished. Let's write a paper together, see what interest you have, and then I'll see if, write me an abstract and a title, and see if I can collaborate. And so my colleague said, how about an article on ornament? Fantastic. We need to write an article on ornament. So send me an abstract. And I received the abstract, and it was very disturbing because things were said, nice things were said, and it could go forward as a paper, but the vocabulary was just horrible.
Yeah.
So this person was using the standard vocabulary taught in architecture schools, which destroys any possible meaning of ornament. So they have destroyed the language. Not only have they destroyed the design,
they're destroying the language.
They destroyed the language. So it's if you talk the talk that is taught in architecture schools, you cannot even express a positive idea about ornament. Mm-hmm. This was very disturbing, and it has disturbed me for several weeks now.
Well, ornament is never mentioned. It was never mentioned for me.
Well, I think his point, Nikos's point was the language of way, the language that's also being taught. So Nikos, to my question to you is as an educator, how can that be changed? What is going to be required to change even something as simple as the language that you learn in school? Is that
I'm sorry to say that the only way for students to learn something is to go outside the architecture school, to take courses like ANS, summer courses offered in Europe, traditional academies, neuroscience courses.
Yes.
Inside, it's impossible to change.
Well, and so many people are starting schools. So the Aesthetic City, run by Ruben Hansen.
Exactly. Alternative schools.
Like 100,000 YouTube followers or something. And he's starting a new school about how to make cities livable.
Yeah.
And and again, I think there's growing interest around the world. And City Makers Collective is also doing a school. And so people...
There are several schools and, they're growing.
Sorry, Nikos. The problem is none of their schools are accredited.
Yes.
And that's a nightmare. We talked about that. The National Accreditation Board, they're not accredited.
Yes,
well, there is in the United States, and I'm applying for it myself, is I'm applying for IACET, which is accredited through ANSI. You're familiar with ANSI, American Standards, and so it accredits the online programming. Problem is right now what I'm seeing is all of a sudden somebody takes one course in a neuroscience or psychology, and all of a sudden they are finding themselves or claiming to be an expert in this category. And so it's from the education perspective, it's the Wild West out there, and we need to have more conversations around this, because the term, I'll use the term, for instance, neurodesign. Neurodesign is not an architecture or an interior design term. It didn't come from your industry. It came from my industry we have principles. We have 61 principles, and we coined the term in our industry. But what's happening now is all of a sudden we're seeing neuroarchitecture, neurodesign, and people that have no concept or understanding of neuroscience are claiming to call themselves neurodesigners. And there's no accreditation around that, no governing body around that. And I don't think we're going to see it for a while, because as we've talked earlier, it comes down to the almighty dollar. If it's in mainstream and there's programming and people wanting programming in it, and the universities see the opportunity to have another program that they can sell, then, or other university or other programming institutions, then it will become included into the programming. But right now it's not in architecture at all.
Well, look, Linda, we're discussing two different problems.
We are.
The closed silo of architecture education in standard schools. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
We are seeing the open up on the outside, so students come on the outside.
Yeah.
But then there's another problem in that on the outside there are good course offerings and ridiculous course offerings. Yeah. There's nothing to be done for the moment. I mean, as a professional, I find videos of a neuro architect talks about their work. It's garbage. They don't know anything, but they upload a video. What can you do? It's out there. It's like political commentary. Everyone can say what they want.
Political commentary. It's so true. But it's the Wild West out there right now. And I've never seen. I mean, when we talk about the neuros, neuro is a buzzword now. I came across a company that has neurogum, neurosomatic creativity. Neuro. Everybody's jumping onto the neuro, but there's no basis on what they're doing or what they're bringing out, and people believe it. People will believe, but it is what it is right now. And
there are all these new tools, though, we have to see inside your brain that just weren't as available 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's just a huge ballooning industries. And the fact that the business schools, I know 3 business schools in Massachusetts that now have eye tracking, facial expression analysis, galvanic skin response, heart rate, breath monitoring for their business school students. And to graduate now, you need to be able to be familiar and proficient in the tech.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
So it's a matter of time. It's coming. It's coming.
And I think it's just
So look, something big is coming. That's Anne's handbook of neuroscience. So how's that going?
Coming September 18th. And that's something else, Ara, we've talked about before. Maybe we can jump on a call. It'd be great to figure out. We have 50 authors and 30 chapters. 50 authors are from 4 continents. It'd be great if we could get a sponsor too. Linda was talking about this. Maybe you and Linda can collaborate, because she's interested in podcasts, just getting them all together. I mean, there's chapters on the need for connection. There's chapters on the need, how people experience sacred architecture. The chapter I wrote is titled how fixations in architecture as important as in advertising, how first fixations, where someone first looks, is important in advertising. In advertising, they study what first you look at. They really study it and monetize it. But this is important in architecture.
Yeah.
Right, but Anne,
we could so much do, because I think what I've learned too is people are interested in architecture. Yeah. But they're even more interested in people. People are interested in people.
Yes,
people are
Anne, specifically, what can Ara do to help?
Well, I think we need to confirm the proofs for the books. I finally just saw it. I can show you the proofs for the book. The proofs I had to proof the index. We just did that, and maybe we can figure out I want to make sure the September 18th is when the ebook in full color and the hardcover will be released. That's basically in 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks. And we could maybe figure out a way, because I think there's Nikos's chapter, there's Near Buras has a chapter, Cleo Valentine has a chapter, Justin Hollander has a chapter, I've got a chapter, Abigail has a chapter. Linda has a chapter on color, how the brain is hardwired to look for specific colors. Again, something never mentioned on the licensing exam. Can you imagine?
Yes.
No discussion of color.
Okay, excuse
Architects
me.
are terrified of color.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but I want specifics, okay? Ara runs an international follow-up video series.
How we could really, maybe we need to approach PBS, Sarah.
Well,
because we've got all the people. We've got the brand new book. It's already been,
It would be cool.
It could be a series. It could be a series of people getting together to talk. It could be each person. There are 31 chapters. Each chapter author talking. I mean, there's lots of ways to handle it. But I think I first need to make sure. Routledge it's fascinating to watch how big book publishers market books. They've had a website that they sent even to Barnes and Noble already about the book and it coming out. First, they said the book was coming out August 15th. Now they say the book is coming out September 18th. So I'm going to confirm when it's coming out. And I don't think I'll know that till like maybe 2 weeks. But maybe at the end of August, we could talk, Ara, and figure out a plan. Well, if you have an idea, Ara, and you are, and in November, I'll be in LA.
Oh, cool.
Ara, you have a powerful platform. You're building a very powerful platform. You've got an outward facing platform to allow people that are architects or maybe not architects or connected to the industry an opportunity to hear firsthand about the changes that we need to make. And I think from a marketing perspective, utilizing your platform, not just for sharing information, but also for pointing people in the right direction. I think that is such a powerful opportunity that you have, because we can sit here and complain and talk about and identify things that people are doing wrong, and we can identify things that are doing right. But at the end of the day, if we don't point them towards somewhere, a call to action, whether you participate in a Humanize conference, whether you take a course that actually, like Anne's course, the Happy's course, or invest in reading material, unless you do a call to action, people aren't going to know what to do. And that's very much part of what we do in marketing is that we have to point people, you have to tell people what to do. It's no different than doing sales. If you're in sales, you have to ask for the order. If you come in and you talk about this wonderful thing you're going to do and everything and how you're going to help them, if you don't actually ask for the sale, all you did was provide a lot of really great information. And that's, what so many people are doing. And I think in doing it and doing it wrong is they like to, talk about these projects or highlight projects that they personally think are really great, but they don't actually point anybody in the right direction. And I think you have the power to do that, Ara, on what you're doing here.
There's a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk.
I know him well. Yeah, I know him well.
Yeah. So he wrote a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook.
Yeah.
And it was about you provide value, and then you come out with the ask. And then someone can ask them.
You have to ask.
But you need a lot of jabs before the right hook. So it was like jab.
You've got a lot. I've looked at your site here, and you've got a lot of content. You've got Nikos, you've got Anne, you've got so many and great buildings that you're showing, and great connections, and you've got a platform with followers. And that's.
I was just thinking that yesterday, that we have so much content that someone can binge. People are always like binge watching Netflix shows.
It hasn't gotten out there.
Yeah. People should be binging our series.
But we also need funding. What were you going to say?
He's going to say something.
No, that's what I was just saying. Like people binge like random TV shows, whereas they should be binging our podcast series. But yeah. No.
Well, and so why do certain series attract people? I mean, it's ratings, right? Why do certain documentaries or movies? Let's use movies, because you know what? It has elements in there that people want. You've got drama. You've got the love of things. You've got You've got all different kinds of elements in there that excite people. And you have the potential. You have all of the elements that you can check off on your box. The beauty of architecture the bad. Look at, some of the bad. My family came from communist Czechoslovakia. I go back home to to Prague, and I look at the buildings built during the communist time, and they're aggressive and they're angry. And then you look at the beautiful city of Prague, and you have a completely different emotional feeling there. So we've got a lot of the elements that they have in a Hollywood movie, a blockbuster Hollywood Oscar-winning movie. But we need to use it, and we need to put it out there. And I think, Ara, of all the people that are doing things, you're right at the top there doing it. And so it's spreading that message and getting it out. I've come on today just by fluke. I happen to be here today. But now that I know about you, and I learned about you through Anne, and I know about Nikos through Don Ruggles and other people. But I now can carry that. I can be that messenger to carry it out into my smaller community of interior designers, and spread that message there and point them in the right direction to look at what you're doing. And and I think also, if you don't mind me saying, is that you are very focused on architecture. That is your mission. But once in a while, it would be nice to be able to include some of the other sectors that are going to make a difference, that work compatibly with the architects, like those designers that are doing things. Because, like, to your point, Anne, about color, if I have to hear one more time that, if you have high anxiety, paint the interior pale blue, that's not necessarily true. Color psychology and marketing, yes, that might work in marketing. But if you're somebody like myself who is high ADHD and I need a place that's going, when I come home, it cannot be bright walls. I need one room in my home, one room in a space, one room in an office work environment that's going to ground me and hug me and hold me. And that needs to be different colors. It needs to be darker colors for me. I need to be held down and grounded. Otherwise, Nikos, you would hate me because I'm all over the place. I would be boom, 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 boom. I can't change the way my brain is wired. How are you going to help me so that I don't always feel that I'm not always bullied? Because my life, I have been bullied because of the way my brain is wired. and it's the built environment that stresses me out, or sends my anxiety in a different way. So to your point, you have the platform. Maybe we have a conversation on how we market it and promote it and get it out there.
I think we have an opportunity.
Marketing is my specialty, and architecture and design are your specialty.
We have an opportunity here with Nikos and all these people. Maybe we could brainstorm sometime, maybe offline, even about how we promote it. Make sure it's coming out September 18th. I need that confirmed from Routledge. It's a great opportunity. Nobody else has the book coming out.
If there was a video counterpart to it, I think it wouldn't take away from the book.
A video counterpart would be great. And I can ask Routledge about that too, if they could support us with that.
Yeah.
They put the videos on their website. So they have a website that, like, Barnes and Noble will pick up, Amazon will pick up. And then if those videos went to all those sites, that would be amazing. Yeah. Maybe that would be a great idea.
Yeah, summary from each author. Yeah. And it's either each author just stacked, or you intertwine them into each other.
You give each author 45 seconds or 1 minute.
Yeah, and then you make a half-hour video.
A half-hour thing would be fantastic. Oh, that would be incredible.
Yeah, videos. People want to be entertained. I mean, sure, 400-page book, sure. You have no idea. I mean, I see the books there on Nikos' shelf. Okay, Nico, I can't even imagine, Nikos, I can't imagine how many more books you have, but I just bought another 8 books while I was here with Anne. I am constantly reading. It's just the way I am. I like to read. I like the books. I like all different topics on, and it gets daunting because you feel by yourself when you're reading all the time, but when you're entertained on a video, you feel a little bit more like other people are entertaining you and validating some of the things, or teaching you.
You're getting mirrored. So I realized we were running out of time. Yeah. It's 1:53 here.
Yeah. Let's end this. But look, I think it's a good idea to ask Routledge if they allow us to make our videos of the book content, and they mirror it. Ara makes videos and Routledge mirrors it on their site.
Yeah. And could we ask for them to fund Ara?
You can ask them, they say yes or no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I think even if we don't get, maybe we could give Ara some funding, but if we could do that video, then have the video go on their website.
Yeah. On their website, that's important. All the
booksellers pick up on their website.
Because look, there's a legal catch here. If it's on Ara's website, they will say, you're stealing our content. If it's on their website, it is a publicity for the book. They're happy.
Right. That's right. And they'll be happy then if Ara reposts it or reputs it out.
Yes.
And then legally he's fine with that because they want first dibs. They want the first opportunity because it's their content. And they want the publicity and they want the marketing and they want to say, look what we're doing. And this idea might be something that they've never thought of.
And this is what they do is I think it's so interesting talking to them. They said that the paperback version of the handbook doesn't come out till 18 months later.
Yeah.
Because they want all the libraries to buy the $300 book.
Yeah.
The paperback is $60.
Yeah, and it's all black and white. How do you talk in my chapter? How do I talk about color in black and white?
It's all
Thank you very much.
But the hardcover and the paperback are all black and white. The book is full color.
Those are problems to be solved later. But there's some good ideas. Good ideas.
So we need to get funding for a movie.
Nikos, are you where are you based, Nikos?
Texas.
San Antonio, Texas, USA.
Oh, okay. I'll be my stepson lives in Houston and we were planning to go up to San Antonio. I think you have a walk up there, some river walk or something.
Yes.
And I'd like to see it. So if I find myself in Texas, I would love to be able to just shake your hand and say hello.
Yeah. Just let me know. Let me know ahead of time.
Thank you very much.
Well, listen,
and Ara,
guys,
you're not. Where are you, Ara?
Los Angeles.
Oh, well, that will be my another trip. I think around in Christmas time.
In November.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Anyway, guys, it's been awesome.
Thank you for
fantastic. Thank you, Linda, for joining us.
Thank you.
I love an international group. Isn't this great? Thank you, Canadians.
Thank you, Americans. It's all good. At the end of the day, we're all in this together.
3 time zones. Love it. Talk to
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Bye, Ara.
Nikos.